Hey everybody, it is Thursday, the 23rd, and I just got a chance to finish grading everyone's rough drafts of their thesis statements for the first essay. Remember that essay is due Sunday, and over the weekend, I don't always have access to the course as readily as I do during the week, so you really want to get in touch with me today if you have any questions about that essay. And this might have to be a two-part video. What we're going to do now is I'm going to go through all of the thesis statement drafts that everyone uploaded. So thank you for uploading your assignment. If you did it by yesterday, you got the 5 points. If you didn't upload your assignment yesterday, you can still send it to me by email and get my feedback, but it's not possible to get the 5 points anymore. So what we have on the screen here are the thesis statement drafts. And again, essay number 1 is asking you to basically make a claim or take a side on this position of, does popular culture, shape our beliefs? So the go-to would be, yes it does, or no it doesn't. But someone asked a great question about, could there be a little bit of both? It shapes some of our beliefs, but other things shape our beliefs as well. And the answer to that question is yes, that as a writer, you can take that stance. That, it's a little bit of yes and a little bit of no. But for the most part, when we're, as academic writers, when we're asked to take a position, we're usually saying yes or no, for or against. Okay, I'm simplifying, but in most cases, that's what we're being asked to do. So, popular culture, does it shape our beliefs, our values? Okay, so the first set of thesis statements here that folks submitted, 1 through 5, do just that. Although some may disagree, our beliefs are scripted by our larger culture in many ways. So this person's saying, yes, our culture, popular culture, do script or shape our beliefs in many ways. We would expect the rest of this essay, again, I'm looking for 2 to 3 pages, typed, double-spaced, Times New Roman, 12-point font. What I'm expecting here in the next 2 to 3 pages is for this writer to give me those examples of many ways, right? They need to get specific now in ways in which our beliefs are scripted by popular culture, okay? Maybe they want to give me 3 ways, okay? And then that would, if you're doing a 5-paragraph essay, introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion, each of the 3 body paragraphs would speak to one of the ways that, as this writer is telling us, our beliefs are scripted by our larger culture, okay? Number 2, popular culture is shaping the world in many ways, good and bad. So this is interesting because this person's kind of said up front, yes, pop culture shapes the world, in both good and bad ways. Now thinking about the prompt, right? So the prompt is asking about how pop culture shapes not necessarily the world, but our beliefs, right? So it may be true that pop culture shapes the world, but the prompt is asking about our beliefs. So this writer has to think a little more about where they're going with this, okay? The third one, I strongly believe society, culture, determines our beliefs because our way of thinking is influenced by our environment. Okay, so here, I'm seeing the language, right? Society or culture determines our personal beliefs. A quick note, this, things like I strongly believe, in my opinion, I think, in my view, statements like that, you generally can refrain from using, okay? So the idea is that we know, as the reader, I know these are your opinions, right? Because you're the writer. So you don't really have to tell me I strongly believe or I think. I know it's what you think and believe because you wrote it. Okay, so those kind of phrases you generally can refrain from using. Number 4, an individual's beliefs, although intrinsic and personal, comma, are influenced by the culture and environment that they're exposed to throughout their life. Okay, so again, we're seeing this notion of environment popping up again, which is fine, right? And then number 5, in a society where popular culture is altering, the personal beliefs of a person can change positively and or negatively about politics and world issues. So here you can see these are the 2 kind of topics, right, or areas that this writer is going to focus on: people's beliefs about world issues and people's beliefs about politics. How does popular culture affect the beliefs that an individual may have about politics and about world issues? So good. So that's the first set, okay? Moving forward, the next 2, I kind of clustered these together because I see them to have some similar qualities. So number 6, I believe our beliefs are almost completely scripted by larger culture. And again, the idea of saying I believe is not necessary because I know that the writer believes this because they're the person who wrote this. Okay, so just saying our beliefs are almost completely scripted by larger culture. Great. This author is saying they believe this because of changing beliefs and attitudes of each generation, bias in the media, and the idea that we are products of our environment. Okay, so I'm kind of seeing a 3-point thesis here, I think, right? So I would maybe expect a body paragraph about how attitudes have changed from generation to generation, maybe a body paragraph about the bias that we see in the media, and then a body paragraph about being products of our environment, okay? And then I think this was the person's thesis statement simplified to one sentence. I think this happens due to the media and people surrounding us with their bias and values. So again, I'm just going to make this, keep reinforcing we don't need the I think, because we understand you're the writer. This is what you think. Here's my issue with this one, or my feedback with this one. I think this is great. However, each of these 3 sub-themes could be their own book. It's too much to tackle in a 2 to 3 page paper. Okay, so my advice to this writer, and I gave all this individual advice back to you all in the comment section of the assignment. So go back to the assignment. Again, if you submitted, you got your 5 points, but look and see what kind of feedback I gave you. But I remember what I said to this writer was pick one, right? You're not going to be able to cover all 3 of these with any level of real thinking and depth of thinking and thoroughness in a 2 to 3 page paper. So person has to pick one. Okay. Number 7. And a couple of you gave me kind of even a rough draft of an introduction, not just the thesis statement, which was fine. It was awesome. Actually that some folks did that. You didn't have to, but that was good. Our knowledge almost always comes from someone else, like a teacher or our parents. So since our knowledge is always formed by someone else, we tend to not only inherit their knowledge, but their biases as well. Our biases tend to shape our culture. And then I omitted a couple sentences. That's why I put the ellipses here. We don't question these people. So people, tastemakers, news personnel or personalities, things like that. We don't question these people because we assume they're right and we form it around ourselves. I'm not sure what the it refers to here. Most people don't question those people. Again, popular figures that we see in our media. Our ideas, values, and thoughts and beliefs are scripted by the nightly news, 5-second Instagram sensations, and fake Facebook accounts that post lies about political candidates in a sense. Okay, so what I honed in on here, so clearly this writer thinks that our beliefs, values, and ideas are shaped by pop culture. Great, so they're answering the prompt. And then the writer mentions 3 specific things, right? The nightly news, Instagram, and Facebook. And you can see here too, looking at this language, right? If I'm a critical reader, I'm seeing that this writer is actually is being critical because they're saying, Instagram sensations, fake Facebook accounts, right? So this person's being letting me know that they believe pop culture does influence our ideas and beliefs, and that it's maybe doing so that's not always a great thing, right? That it might be somewhat negative. So what I saw in common with these 2 was this idea of bias, right? Okay, so we had this writer talking about there being bias in the media, and again here we've got this writer, so these 2 writers are sort of thinking similarly, right? But they are both addressing the prompt. This one, like I said, though, they just need to pick one of these topics. They're each too broad to try to jam into a 2 to 3 page paper, and then. This one, if this is the thesis statement, intended to be the thesis statement, I would just kind of maybe rethink this last piece. You can include this in your body somewhere, but I'm not sure that this necessarily is working in the intro. And for any of these comments that I'm making, just if you have questions, message me back or email me, and I can elaborate. Okay, now we move into the next group, 8 through 12. And what we're seeing here, I put in bold. The writers did not put these in bold, but I put in bold the 3 points. So again, that 3-part thesis is really comfortable and familiar. Some people learn it. Some people, it might not be, something you learned, but you just kind of were drawn to. And we see some similar topics coming up here, right? So the first writer saying mass media, social media, society, and politics. Okay, they're kind of seem to be, I think, grouping society and politics together, which maybe this person just wants to say politics. Otherwise, maybe give some thought as to what you mean by society. But mass media, that's pretty clear, I think, as a category. Social media and politics, right? So these could be the three. Number 9 here, this person's talking about monetary values, so these moral principles that we have, right, regarding monetary values, feminism, and environmentally responsible behavior. As I'm looking at this out loud and saying it out loud, this might be a lot to pack into 2 to 3 pages as well. Yeah, for some of these, just as you start writing your rough draft, you know, make sure you're being thorough, right? And if it seems like you stay within the 2 to, don't go over 3 pages. Please force yourself to max at 3 pages. But you know, if you feel like you're kind of skimming over, maybe drop something, right? So it might be that you know, maybe feminism is too much to try to tackle. Okay, maybe you want to stick with just values that we have regarding money and environmentally responsible behavior. Number 10, what makes us who we are? Are all of our ideas truly our own? It's very possible that pop culture can influence our beliefs. In this day and age, we can get lost in the noise of everyday society. Examples of this exposure are social media, celebrity influence, television, and movements like Black Lives Matter. So we're seeing 4 things here. I just want to say the reason I highlighted this is this seems to be the thesis statement within kind of a rough draft of a body, an introduction. But it's not very confident in tone. So what I want from this writer, what I would encourage this writer to do and all of you to do is to really kind of take ownership of your stance, of your take on the subject, right? You're confident in your opinions. So rather than saying it is very possible, right, I would want something a little more confident here. Just perhaps even saying that, just getting rid of this part and just saying pop culture can and does influence our beliefs. Okay, something like that. So getting more confident in tone. The other thing is this notion of getting lost. I don't know if that's relevant, right? If the topic is pop culture shaping beliefs, I don't know about getting lost in the noise of society. It fits here, right? So be careful not to kind of pull in extraneous, irrelevant ideas, okay, in your papers. When you write rough drafts, that's fine. When you go through and polish your draft, that's where you start to pull those out. And I only have a few minutes left before this video cuts off. So here we have the education system, social media, and then we've got family, education, and society. Okay, so that's it. And the last 2. So these 2 writers kind of took a slightly different tactic, right? I opened up saying how like the go-to response to a lot of academic writing is a pro or con, a for or against, a yes or a no. These 2, and you can read through them, the writers kind of took a middle ground, right? So saying that although there's evidence to support that pop culture scripts our behavior, you know, the statement doesn't really reflect how multidimensional this issue is. Okay, so this person is kind of taking that middle road, as is number 14 here. That even though we have scripted values that some of us follow, some people do not live by the rules. They make their own paths. My point is most people no longer follow the old route. So these are slightly different from maybe the rest of the responses that were a yes or no. Both are completely valid. The point is, as long as you stick to the topic, right? Does popular culture shape our beliefs? Yes, it does. How? No, it doesn't. Why not? Or a middle ground, as we see with these 2 examples, right? That it's a little more complex than that. So, awesome job. Email me if you have questions. I can't wait to read these papers. They're due Sunday. Today's Thursday. Don't forget to do the discussion board post this week. And hopefully these videos are helpful. And I guess that's about it. So email me if you have questions. I'm really happy about what I'm seeing here. And I think you guys are doing a great job. So yay! Okay, bye.